Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tom Baker Show. It is great to be back with you once again, wherever you are watching us from. We are thankful to have you, and this show, as always, being brought to you by our good friends from Radical Race Gear. If you need the latest and greatest in customized driver or team gear of any type, radicalracegear.com is the place to go. Everything from driving gear, suits and shoes, and sublimated shirts for the crew. And of course, customized pop up tents and even carpets for your trailer. They've got it all. Radicalracegear.com. We start this show first by bringing in our co-host, Jacob Seelman from Raceface Digital. And we start, Jacob, with IndyCar this time because, good Lord, there is so much going on in the IndyCar series between driver swaps, new drivers in, and the rumor mill about scheduling. It's really gotten kind of crazy over there on that side of the fence.
Isn't silly season fun? I love
It
this time of
is.
year, particularly because IndyCar just has all sorts of time in the wide world of sports to be able to produce these stories, considering we finish by Labor Day and then don't go racing again until March. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
all that said, our first bullet point is one that I am rather excited about because I'll say semi predicted this. I expected this driver to go somewhere because I believed that Andretti Global would not let him get away very far with how good he was this year. And I was correct. Your 2025 Indy Next, formerly Indy Lights champion Dennis Hauger, otherwise known as the Norwegian Nightmare by one Kevin Lee, is headed to Dale Coyne Racing for 2026 for a full season with a brand spanking, sparkly new technical partnership with Andretti Global for the DCR bunch for next year. Obviously expected because Dennis is an Andretti driver, but considering as a rookie, he came in and basically obliterated the rest of the top feeder series to IndyCar and said, yeah, I'm just going to take this championship. Thanks. Goodbye. This is not a shock at all. We knew the scholarship money was there for at least a handful of IndyCar races plus the Indy 500, as is tradition for this series at this point. But a full season and that technical partnership with Andretti, I think a huge deal. I think Dennis, who came over from the F2 ladder, Tom, supremely talented. And I believe this gives the Dale Coyne team someone equally as talented and equally with the raw speed that someone like Arenas VK has. Even though Dennis hasn't driven the top tier Indy cars yet, F2, he's very adaptable. He's done this at the highest level. He's going to be just fine. I think this is a tremendous move for DCR.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think this is a young driver who has more experience at a higher level than I think your typical IndyCar rookie has. And I think he'll come in seasoned and ready. Obviously, you've got to learn the tracks and learn the nuances of the car compared to what he's been driving. But yeah, Dennis Hauger is certainly a driver who I think is capable of being a star in the IndyCar series. And Andretti got a good pickup there. And yeah, I think this is going to be fun to watch to see how he runs in 2026. And seeing Dale Coyne get this partnership, Jacob, is I think a great thing for IndyCar and obviously a great thing for Dale Coyne. This is what's been needed for Dale Coyne, much like the Foyt Technical Alliance with Penske. I think Dale Coyne now is going to be able to take that next step up the ladder, and I feel like they've kind of overachieved with what they've had over the years anyway, when they've had a competitive driver who's capable of driving to the front. Dale Coyne's cars have.
Oh, 100% they have. It just takes the right tech and the right driver to really help those cars shine, as well as a little bit of funding at least, which Dale has not shied away from going after in the past. No, I think you're going to see the DCR stable next year be one to reckon with, I would say, alongside some of the other mid-tier teams, quite frankly. And speaking of mid-tier teams, that flows right into bullet point number 2 in silly season. That this is, we don't really get to this until next May, but Jack Harvey, back in his traditional role with Dreyer and Reinbold Racing for next year's Indy 500. This will be now the, I believe, 4th year in a row that Harvey will be with DRR, which has been traditionally one of the stalwart one-off Indy 500 operations, of course, with Dennis Reinbold, that long family connection to American open wheel racing. This is not a surprise at all. They love Jack. Jack loves that team. He performed very, very well for them in the 500, particularly this past year, Tom. And I just love seeing the guy in the series because, quite frankly, I don't think Jack got the greatest of shakes when he had his full-time deal a couple years ago with Meyer Shank Racing. And it just, as good as he is in the pit reporting role for the Fox broadcasts, it just pains me because he's such a good driver to only see him be in the 500 right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's a fun guy, number one, and he's extremely talented. I think this is great for Dreyer Reinbold. They've had over the years, Dreyer and Reinbold always seem to put a driver in the car for the 500, if not beyond that. But for the 500, that just is really super competitive. I mean, I miss the Sage Karam days, to be honest, but love to see Jack Harvey in the car. And I think that, again, that's a combination that can certainly run up front in the 500 for sure.
For sure. And then there was the Ron Ruzewski news, who, as
Yeah.
those who followed that saga earlier this year know, was one of the, we'll say, disgraced Penske dismissals from the whole cheating scandal times 2 of the last couple years. Well, he's found a new home at Penske's one of Roger's arch
One of them.
rivals in Andretti Global. He'll be the new team principal. Longtime team principal Rob Edwards is going to move to kind of an advisory role across all of Andretti Global's motorsports series as opposed to just IndyCar. But I mean, Ron's knowledge goes back 25, 30 years. This to
For
me
sure.
is particularly interesting from a standpoint of he can bring kind of philosophies maybe from the Penske pipeline to Andretti to maybe help them improve in ways that they didn't even realize they needed improvement in. But I think you look at a kind of a down year for Andretti, I would say by comparison, but you add somebody like Will Power to that stable who is already familiar with the Ron Ruzewski Penske way,
Yep.
and this could just be the beginning of a gigantic resurgence for that brand name going into next year.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to watch because, you always really wonder when things happen like what happened with Penske and, the scandal and all of that. You always do kind of wonder, well, who really knew about these things and when did they know it and who were the ones that really spearheaded it. And so you look at Ron Ruzewski and it's easy for him to be kind of a fall guy, if you will, because he was part of the C-suite there. But we don't really know exactly where all that was and who is responsible. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see what Ron does. And sure, Will Power coming over definitely is a familiar face. And I think a guy who, even without Ron Ruzewski, is going to help Andretti to step its game up a little bit. But, I think this is going to be an interesting move for Ruzewski going to a new organization. And I think it'll be fun to watch Will Power in Andretti equipment.
Anybody that thinks Will Power has lost any of his fire need just look back at the last couple races of this season to what Will did, particularly in that Grand Prix at Portland when he went to victory lane. And that
Yep.
should tell you all you need to know. This is not a driver who is on the very back end waning on his way out of his career. This is a driver who still has the fire, who is still performing at a high level, that quite frankly, I'll go so far as to say kind of got screwed with the way things ended between he and the Penske organization. Will wanted multiple years of stability. Penske didn't want to give him that. Will said, "Okay, I'll go find somebody that will," and
Yep.
he did, and he has. So, with that, the rumor mill churning on not next year's schedule. We've already got that, but for 2027, I'm intrigued. I'm curious your thoughts on this about the potential IndyCar return to Brazil that got teased by a journalist from down in that portion of the world
Yep.
earlier this week. Potential return to Sao Paulo, but not a street circuit in downtown, actually the F1 circuit in that area at Interlagos, which is not something that modern IndyCar has done. Number one, I think it's a great circuit for IndyCar and for open wheel cars in general. Um, do you think it's time for IndyCar to look international beyond what we have for the one race a year in Canada? I mean, this was a really successful race when they did it back from 2010 to 2013, even if the aforementioned Will Power did win 3 of the 4. It's a part of the world where this single seater open wheel racing style has always had a really strong foothold.
So, before I answer that question, I'm going to actually raise you one because just before this show started, I saw something directly come out of the Zandvoort area that suggested that maybe that great Dutch facility, which is not going to be a part of F1 for much longer, may be enticed to be part of the IndyCar schedule. And they were talking as early as 2026, though I obviously don't see that
I was going to
happening.
say, well, that's impossible because they've already finalized the schedule.
Right.
But
So again, I don't see that happening, but let's just take this as kind of a two-pack here. The idea of IndyCar going outside of North America is interesting. I don't know if the series is well enough developed here but when you get an opportunity to go to a place like Brazil where you've been before, depending on how the numbers work out, if they can get the kind of dollars to come over there and race, maybe this is something that you do, before your season starts, or maybe after the Labor Day time frame to extend your season a little bit because they don't have a lot of,
right.
they don't have enough races, in my opinion. So I think honestly, if I'm IndyCar, uh, I'm looking at both of these possibilities, but I'm seriously looking at Brazil if there's anything to this, as if we can make the timing right and we can do this and get a big enough paycheck. Yeah, I think maybe we need to go over there and look at Brazil. I will throw this out too. We're talking IndyCar here. Not ready yet to sign on to NASCAR going anywhere like that, but IndyCar has been there and been successful. I think it could be worth looking at if the dollars and the timing on the schedule are right.
Fair enough. And perfect transition, by the way, because that kind of leads into where our NASCAR discussion is headed, kind of in a backdoor way. And I feel like
Yep.
this can kind of I want to take this as I don't want to say a lightning round kind of bullet, but I want to hear your thoughts more than necessarily my own on this one. So Ty Gibbs
Okay.
versus Denny Hamlin. Number one, in case you've been living under a rock, yes, that happened. About 110 laps in at Loudon, Denny got tired of Ty holding him up, laid the bumper, and Ty ended up in the turn 2 wall. For those that didn't know, um, nobody wanted to say a whole lot. In fact, I wrote about that a couple of days ago. That everybody kind of took the, yeah, we're going to settle this in house sort of thing, and then that raises
Yep.
the question of, okay, did anything get settled or not? As yeah, this little battle right here that got crazy. So, Tom, If you're Denny Hamlin, how do you proceed over the next 6 races? And do you have to be wary of Ty Gibbs at this point?
First of all, if I'm Joe Gibbs, I have this settled by now, and we don't have to worry about what Denny might or might not do over the next 6 races. My number one cardinal rule would be don't wreck your teammate, and Denny wrecked his teammate
Mhm.
just the same way as I was calling out Ty Gibbs for crashing Brandon Jones at Martinsville a couple of years back. I'm calling out Denny Hamlin for crashing Ty Gibbs. Denny is chasing the championship. I understand you're frustrated because Ty's racing you like he would race any other car. I do believe Ty should have given way to both of his teammates. That's part of being a teammate, and your name's on the door. You should want somebody from your group to win the championship. But Denny has to stay big picture. I just am not a fan of how Denny reacted there. It was obviously intentional. I think that you do what you need to do to make sure that you get through that race, and then you have your discussion in house at the Monday morning meeting. And leadership from JGR hopefully would tell all of you as a group, stop it and work together the way teammates should. And then we don't have to worry about the next 5 or 6 races because we all understand what the JGR game plan is and should be.
Exactly. As Jeff Burton said in the post race show, this is going to define how Joe Gibbs Racing races going forward. And we hope it's
Yes.
a cleaner situation than what it's been in the past. Now, if you circle back to our pre playoff discussion, when I said don't overlook Team Penske because they're going to play a factor, just maybe not immediately. Well, rumors of Penske's playoff demise that other people decided to throw out there after JGR swept the opening round were vastly overblown. Ryan Blaney goes to victory lane. The affiliate car in Josh Berry comes all the way back from a spin to run second. Joey
That
Logano
was
jumps
fun
above the cut line with a top 5 finish. Oh my gosh, Josh Berry was the story of the day, I feel like, outside
for
of just the
sure.
overall
Yeah.
prowess of those 3 cars. So they were good at Gateway. They're good at New Hampshire. We know where the championship is going to be decided. Was this a shot across the bow, Tom, to everybody else in the playoffs by the Penske organization of, hold on a minute, this championship still goes through us?
Well, I don't know about all that. I mean, I think when we talked about Toyota's dominance, where was it? At Darlington, I think. I said,
Yep.
look, don't count out the Chevys and don't count out the Fords. It's one race. And, I think we saw the Fords, as you say, prove that, we're going to go down swinging if we're going. And, we know that Penske's strong in the finale, at the finale track in Phoenix. So I think all of the manufacturers are still in this. I think it's anybody's ball game at this point. These races are tight. A lot can happen. And we've got some real crazy tunes coming up here in the next round, with the Roval being part of that. We got a Talladega coming
Yep.
up. This is still a wide open championship field here. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what the second round brings, because once you get down to 8, now you can start talking about, how many from each manufacturer are still in, and then you can make some better conclusions. Right now, I think they're all still in it.
Are you worried? One word answer. Are you worried about the Toyotas considering how non existent they were at Loudon?
No, no, we got plenty of races left. Not worried at all.
Fair enough. All right, 2 little news bullets real quick on one on the Cup side, one on the Xfinity side. Number one, we know who Connor Zilich's crew chief at Trackhouse Racing is going to be next year, and it is Randall Burnett, who will be leaving Richard Childress Racing and Kyle Busch to jump over to the Zilich Hive, as
Yes.
the fan base has made itself known. I love this move. Do you love this move?
I find the move curious, honestly. It would make me wonder if Rodney Childers was ever invited to this party or if he just turned down the offer. I'm not saying Randall Burnett's not capable of running well in Cup and being a good Cup crew chief. He's proven before that he can certainly get the job done. I just think it's an interesting move. I do think that Connor Zilisch is the future archetype NASCAR driver, a driver who can win on either ovals or road courses. And I think that Randall Burnett hit the jackpot with him because Connor is a guy that as long as he has a car that's 90%, he can drive the other 10% into it, even at a young age. And I think Randall Burnett just cashed his playoff bingo card just with the move over to that pit box. So it's going to be fun to watch how this combination works out. But I just was shocked to see that Rodney Childers was not the guy that got the call, and even more shocked to see that Rodney Childers isn't the guy that replaced Randall Burnett.
And speaking of Rodney Childers and Connor Zilisch, just to put that out there,
exactly.
Rodney still gets a little bit of Connor Zilisch just in the Xfinity series because Rodney is going to crew the JRM #1 next year, and it'll be a split season. Carson Kvapil, Connor Zilisch both doing time in that entry. Rodney on social has said all year, I just want to be back in a leadership role and I want to win races. Well, if you want to win races, particularly at that level, there's no better team than JRM. I love this hire. I love that Dale got him. I know that Dale respects Rodney greatly. And I have also heard rumblings that the Carson Kvapil portion of the schedule is going to be a little bit front loaded here, in the hopes that if they can strike gold and get a win early, that maybe a playoff ticket helps them fill out a season for Carson. A lot maybe to be decided down the pipeline further for that, but regardless, you want to talk about Rodney Childers winning races, I think he's going to win a lot of them next year at that one team.
Well, I hope you're right, and I hope Carson gets his share of those. We know that Zilisch can win anywhere the series goes, but Carson's still trying to break through and put himself in the in that full season lineup. And the way that he's going to do it, obviously, is to win somewhere early. And with that, we are going to step aside. When we come back, we've got more NASCAR, and we've also got NHRA, and we got some short track talk for you as well. We'll be back with more of the show right after this. For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
Welcome back to the show, and we conclude our NASCAR section of the show with some truck talk. I always love talking about the trucks, and in this case, this year, for the most part, Jacob, we really have only had one driver to talk about as far as being in victory lane. Yep. It's been Heim time for months now in the Truck Series.
Yes, it has been.
And it was once again, and I mean, it's incredible the season Corey's had. And you can't take anything away from him because sometimes you have a year where everything goes right. Sometimes you have a year where everything goes wrong. And for Corey, this year's been the former.
Yeah, it has been. It's been his time all the time, as they say. And at New Hampshire, he also tied yet another record in Truck Series competition. He locked Greg Biffle's single-season wins record, which was set back in 1999. 9 wins apiece for both of those drivers. And Greg actually humorously on social media, I'm not sure where he was on vacation. Wherever he was, he found a lobster because he was holding up a lobster on vacation and saluted Corey for tying the mark. I loved that. Twitter is a great place sometimes. And while Corey was winning, Chandler Smith was one position behind Corey, needing a win to advance in the playoffs. And that did not happen. So we go and have one heavy hitter in that 38 truck rather, who is now out of the playoffs and will not have a chance to win a championship in Phoenix. And to me, Tom, that stirs the drink because now you've got a Chandler Smith, one, who's irritated because he's out of the playoffs, and 2, could steal some race wins down the stretch if the circumstances are right.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Chandler Smith is a driver that would love to play a spoiler role for anybody because he's just out to win races. That is a top team. And, again, it shows you how close the competition is other than Corey Heim, it seems, this year. In the Truck Series, and, that a driver like Chandler and a team like that did not make the cut, but I'm still looking at Chandler being a contender to win everywhere the Truck Series goes for the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one big thing is their debut at the Roval next week. You look at you look at Corey, who's won 4 straight road races, going for 5 in a row. And if I'm Corey Heim, I'm basically looking at that as, okay, can I start on the pole and just get gone? Because if you don't get gone, there's a lot of drama that can happen at that racetrack, as you and I both have seen in person since it debuted on the NASCAR calendar, and the first time for the trucks. Oh boy, could be a lot of fun to watch. Let me say, by the way, speaking of races that we've been at, I'm a little jealous that I didn't get to do the one that you did over the weekend, because usually I love going to ZMAX Dragway to take in some NHRA drag racing, particularly during the countdown to the championship. You got to do it. More jealous because it's 4 wide playoff racing, and I love 4 wide racing at ZMAX. I love it even more when there's high stakes on the line. And I'll tell you what, we've got 2 interviews that we're going to hear from, but I think you and I were both as surprised at some of the shock drivers that were eliminated early that didn't make the final rounds in the 4 pro classes as anything else.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I would have figured that Brittany Force likely would have been there. I would have figured Tony Stewart surely would have been there. Yeah. It was a really interesting day, and a lot of the racers talked about how throwing the 4 wide format into this playoff round, if you will, just brings up the typical 4 wide issues of, oh, I looked at the wrong tree. There are just things that you think about, worry about in a 4 wide race versus a 2 wide, and that shuffled the deck pretty good. And I thought it was a fascinating weekend. The weather was beautiful. And as you say, we do have 2 winner views, as I call them. And the first one that we're going to hear from is the Top Fuel Dragster winner, Justin Ashley. Justin had an absolutely splendid weekend out there. And let's hear what he had to say.
Of the 4-wide Carolina Nationals, Justin Ashley, who went 3.784 at 329 miles an hour to pick up the win in the final quad. Justin's 4th win of the season, 2nd in the last 3 races, also his 19th career win, 2nd here at ZMAX. Justin, obviously a loaded day, the first ever triple hole shot in Top Fuel history. in the second round, and to get a win in the final round with the reaction time 0:43 to beat Doug Coletta, you got to be feeling great right now.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Obviously, winning any four-wide race or any race for that matter is great, but to win it right here for the first four-wide race in the fall that NHRA's ever had, especially where it's positioned in the year, being in the countdown, this was a critical day for us. And when you look through some of those quads, even specifically when you get to those final two rounds, it's just brutal. The margin for error now in top fuel or funny car, any class really for that matter, is so small. So just really happy to take advantage of every opportunity that we had today. Obviously 4 races left, but these races are hard to win, so I'm a firm believer in the fact that you have to enjoy them when they come before shifting your focus over to the next one.
Yeah.
You've been in the title hunt the last couple of years, even as Dallas leading the points. How do you measure that? How does that help you this year going into those final 4 races?
I think it's experience, right? You can't buy experience, and now we've really been in contention for a championship. I would say you could argue the last 4 years, but really the last 3 years. And just leaning on some of that experience, right? You go back, and I feel like I've been in some of these high-pressure situations before where back then it was the first time I was going through that. And also, you know, we have a lot of guys on the team that have been through the countdown before, have won championships before. Obviously, Mike Green and Tommy Delago have been there before. So just leaning on their guidance and their expertise throughout this process. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to one lap, one race at a time, and just let the points take care of themselves.
For a driver who could beat Nostradamus on a hole shot, does this kind of race make you the most?
It was you heard him talking about the hole shot at the end there, and honestly, Jacob, that triple hole shot in round 2 was the talk of the media center. Everybody was just gap, or well, what's the word I want? Just
aghast,
stunned, aghast. There you go.
Yes.
That's what I'll start it. You finish it. Yeah, everybody was just incredulous at what he pulled off there.
Yeah.
And again, that's what makes this stuff fun. This is genuine racing here. No gimmicks, no nothing. It's just get to the other end of the strip. And man, the things you got to go through. And Justin Ashley was spectacular to watch on Sunday.
And I just want to illustrate real fast for a second before we go into our other interview for those that maybe don't know NHRA terminology. What we're talking about with the triple hole shot is where his elapsed time down the strip was actually the slowest of the 4 drivers in that quad in round 2, but his reaction time was the quickest of those 4 drivers and fast enough that it actually made up the difference in the reaction or the elapsed time being slower, where even though he was the slowest pass, his reaction time covered it and he won the quad because of it, which is, it, like you said, first time it's ever happened. Absolutely wild to think about when you're talking about tenths, hundredths, and milliseconds of time there down the racetrack.
It just shows you that speed down the pass itself, the speed is not everything. You have to, that tree is where everything starts from. And that's what won him round 2. So moving on, the other interview that we have is the Pro Stock Motorcycle winner, Richard Gadson. And Richard is a driver I didn't know a whole lot about until this weekend, but I want to tee this interview up because he really has a great personality. Here's Richard.
Carolina Nationals, Richard Gadson, who gets his first career playoff win, and now into the points lead for the first time in his Pro Stock Motorcycle career, going 6.803 at 199 miles an hour to pick up his 3rd victory this season. Richard, we talked a lot in June about getting that first win, and now they're just kind of coming in bunches, and now you're in the points lead. Is this just a kind of surreal feeling right now for you?
I mean, I'm listening to you say it, and I can't believe you're talking about me. Yeah, you know, to be in a points lead in Pro Stock Motorcycle is, you know, it's just when I'm at home and I look at the points, and sometimes like even my name in 2nd place, I read my name and then I'll like read it again because I just can't believe it's real that I'm in this position. So, you know, I owe all of those thanks to you know, to the boys, to Vince Hines, to our sponsors, to Terry, Byron, for putting me in this position to live this dream. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
You got backed into a corner well before you got to that final round. How does that inspire you, or does it just go with your whole business only approach?
It's not really just business only. You're talking about being against 3 MSR bikes?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. You just want to avenge your team. You just want to, you're the last one in right now, and you don't want to go up there and do anything stupid. If they're going to outrun you, then that's going to be what it is. But you just don't want to beat yourself, and you're the Lone Ranger up there racing for your team. So you carry it with a little bit more pride, but you also don't want to carry it too much and go up there and be a little antsy. These bikes are really easy to do something stupid on. So one of the biggest motivators actually is I want you to call me Tricky Ricky now. In your next article, you got to put Tricky Richie. There you go. I won't steal his name. No, I'm kidding. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it.
So Tricky Richie Gadson ended up picking up the win in the pro stock motorcycle class. The other two big winners, of course, in the pro stock division, Dallas Glenn, and in the Nitro Funny car class. That one actually was a great race. Austin Prock ended up getting the win there. And with that, we are going to step aside one more time. When we come back, we got the Seelman Stat of the Week, which leads us right into our short track finale here on the Tom Baker Show.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com. Welcome back to the show. As we start the last lap segment, we first have to take care of one of my favorite segments of this show now, the Seelman Stat of the Week. Jacob Seelman, what have you got to regale us with this week?
I have Eldora Speedway's 4 Crown Nationals for us this week, in the fact that we have one Daison Pursley, who is quickly become one of my favorite stories in all of dirt track racing. The young man who 4 years ago suffered a spinal injury in a midget crash, couldn't walk, relearned how to walk with the help of some great people at the Shepherd Institute down in Atlanta, and became the 4th driver in 43 years of the 4 Crown Nationals, which brings together the 3 USAC national divisions plus a 4th division, which lately has become the high limit winged sprint cars, together in one night. Daison won all 3 USAC series, the non-winged sprint cars, the non-wing midgets, and the Silver Crown Champ cars, all in the same night, Saturday night. Joins Jack Hewitt, Kyle Larson, and Logan Seavey in a very, very, very exclusive fraternity at just 20 years old. It blew me away watching it, and it's not like he stole a couple of them. Daison drove to the front and flat dominated all 3 races. Just, the kid is remarkable. I've watched him since he was with Keith Kunz Motorsports in his first go-round in a midget, and this young man is brilliant. Huge deal what he did, and we're really hoping to get him on a future edition of this show because his story is just remarkable, and a lot of fans, I think, would be really intrigued to just hear from him and hear how he's gotten back to this point.
Yeah, he is a champion on and off the track, and that was a remarkable accomplishment. He joins two legends and one who is going to be Logan Seavey
Yes.
within that
Yep.
stat. So incredible for sure.
So into the last lap right now, real quickly, just a couple of sprint car nuggets here. Number one, as Donnie Schatz turns has reached its final chapter for 2025, he will finish the season with Jason Sides and Sides Motorsports. Of course, Donnie and Jason raced against each other for many years on the Outlaw Tour when Jason was a driver. Now being a car owner, JDI Group is going to be a sponsor of that number 15 for Donnie Schatz for the rest of the year. He'll be a teammate to Chris Windham, who is hoping to wrap up Rookie of the Year. Tom, two wily old veterans teaming up. Do you like this? Because I do.
Well, wily old veterans with colorful personalities. I think this has the chance to be.
Yes.
This really is a bit of a soap opera, isn't it? With Donnie.
It is.
It
really is.
And I think it's only fitting that he finishes up with Jason Sides, and they're probably going to go out and get a win before this is over with.
Gosh, I hope so. It pains me seeing Donnie struggle as much as he has this year, and I really want him to be able to finish it off right. The dirt track at Charlotte has always been good to him, no matter what car he's been in over the years, and I think if anywhere might be the place to do it, that would be the place where it seems like Donnie tends to always have a little bit of magic left in the tank. And speaking of magic, the photo finish from Saturday night, if you haven't seen it, go search through the videos on the World of Outlaws social channels at World of Outlaws on X/Twitter. David Gravel winning at Tulare Thunderbolt Raceway, banked $83,000 in the Dennis Roth Classic over a hard-charging Spencer Baston by 21 1,000ths of a second at the stripe after 35 laps in a race where I was watching it on the East Coast at 2 a.m. And when I tell you it got me out of my desk chair because I could not believe what I was watching, it got me out of my desk chair because I could not believe what I was watching. Win number 14 on the year for David, but my heart broke for Spencer Baston, who's looking to end a 2-year sprint car winless drought and all but did it with Tarleton Motorsports. Man, it was fun to watch, though. I love it when the Outlaws put on a good show like that.
It surely was, and it was another World of Outlaws classic is what it was out in Tulare. Go check it out, and we will talk more, obviously, about the Outlaws coming up as we get closer to Super Dirt Week up at Oswego Speedway, and then the World Finals here at Charlotte as well. And now we're going to, by magic, make Jacob disappear. Thanks for being on again, and we'll look forward to having you back next week if that wraps it up for another Tom Baker show. For more great content, steeringwheelnation.com, and of course at the Wheel Nation on Instagram and Facebook. And you can also, right on the PowerTube TV platform, you can find our 24/7 streaming channel. Until next time, have yourself an amazing week. Race safely. So long.